takes a couple of seconds for people to load in anyway. You'll see the little eye, and that's when I'll start talking really, and we'll take it from there. As always, it takes a little second to come to peace. Does that me? Does that me come through your phone? It is. I've got some people. There we are. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, this is Alistair from the Sheffield Star. I'm speaking to you today from the Mums United Charitable Bank on the Wicker in Sheffield. We're doing another interview today. We're speaking to Sahira Oshad and Dr. Shahad Salah of Mums United. We're here today to speak more about the knife crime issue we were exploring the other day with Anthony. This is another issue we've been talking about most recently because of the kind of space of knife crime we've been seeing in Sheffield. Mums United is a charitable group who have been set up, who are able to offer the rather unique position and foresight onto knife crime in the city from the unique perspective of being mothers. We will speak about it further in a second, but it's here to discuss further the knife crime problems we're seeing in the city from a really unique standpoint. Mums United have done plenty of preventative work and anti-knife campaigning in the city, and I thought it'd be a really chance to sit down and hear the unique perspective. So thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
We were discussing before we started the live shoot today what Mums United goal is really, and we were talking about how it has that perspective of being. It's not just police officers, it's not just doctors. It's a real perspective of how it affects the community. What kind of work does Mums United do?
Mums United, it gives a safe platform for mums to talk about the impact that youth violence has had on their lives. We have mums who have had lived experiences, who have suffered, and it's about giving them the space and just to take time out and listen to their voice. Initially when we started, there were so many mums that were talking about the issues about 4 years ago, and they just felt that their voices weren't being heard in the communities that we were living in, and it was on the back of that really then we created Mums United, where we wanted to create protective factors in place for mums and the young people. So we hold online sessions, we do workshops, we run youth clubs, we go into schools. We've held 3 two-piece walks and Enough is Enough march, and we're always, campaigning to have more youth services in place for our young, and a platform for the parents to voice their concerns, especially the moms.
Well, I would like to add to that. I think that what is really unique about Mums United is that we are really open to every person in the community, especially Sheffield community, to come and talk to us about knife crimes and the violence in the community. We understand as a mom that women for a long time haven't been in the position to really challenge such issue. It's usually challenged by organization led and directed by men. And Mums United came into the existence to say, well, moms, they do have voices, and those moms should really retake their position in their houses to make the children live safe life. Because, as I explained to you before, the toxic masculinity is really, really deep-rooted in the community, and it's impacted in every aspect of the children's life and the women's lives. So Mums United came in a way to explain the root of the problem, and then to see how we can deal with women, and how to help as well parents, male and females, to understand what's going on, and to help us in tackling the issue.
From the perspective of mums, I suppose, and this is why it was set up those years, what kind of insight can you give into what is it some people might not understand about why these kind of crimes happen, why it affects young people so much? What is it about this kind of lifestyle that might drag young people into it?
I think that it's important to remember that there's so many layers to youth violence. It's not a cut and dry case, and there's a lot of stigma attached to it. Oh, it's the single parent families, low income based families. No, it's not. Knife crime doesn't see colour, religion, social class. Greed, the hunger for it, and it being glamorized in the social media platforms that we see today. It creates its own monster, and you know if young people especially are exposed to that, you know it's very difficult for them to come out of it. And as parents, you know, from our perspective, it's about understanding the culture that our young people are living in. You know, we're living in a very different we're living in a very different environment to when I was younger. You know, this is a new issue that's just cropped up. You know, there's been knife crime, drugs since times began, but it's about the fact that how toxic social media has become. And
I don't think it's the only social media. I think the media in general. Look at the songs. Look at the cool guy, the cool girl, how they look like. You see them. They are lots of stereotypes have been came into the songs, into the media, into the cool guy, the strong man. These characters are really influencing on our children and make them feel like you know they need to do the same to become cool and to be wanted and to be accepted. So it's a matter of belonging as well. We feel like lots of children are following that because there are issues inside the families where the children they don't feel belong and they feel more belong to the gang culture. Because and we spoke about before the use of words like fam, bro among these guys, and the body language they are using, these kind of languages and these kind of phrases they are using is to make them feel like they are really protected, they are really wanted, they have the sense of belonging.
You used the phrase toxic masculinity earlier.
Yes.
No, that's fine. Sorry, Tom.
no, I was just going to say that, you know, I remember growing up a little while ago, but you know, when I was growing up as a British Muslim, you know, mum, dad, loving home, you know, it was difficult for us, you know, as kids growing up in a society which, you know, kind of you've got the Muslim, the British culture, and how you navigate that and how you find your identity in the society you live in. It was difficult even when we were growing up, but it's even more difficult now. It's worse now because social media is powerful. TikTok, Snapchat, you know, everything. You know, we had hip hop back then, and we had different rap music, and so the topics were similar even when we were growing up. That, you know, they used the how they see women in the videos and how they address women, and you know, they're talking about their life stories. And so in my generation, those conversations did happen. We're having the same conversations in our kids' generation now, but the difference is that kids are being influenced at a hell of a lot younger age, you know, and what social media does is it allows people access to different parts of the city. It allows people to get the message across. We had pagers. And the pager was you have to ring someone and get the message across.
Okay.
And the phone was introduced, and the phone was a huge brick that we used to carry around. Now you've got like the internet. Your phone is like a mini computer that you carry around. So the world
The accessibility
Yeah.
to the children by those people is very easy now.
Well, that's like that's a tool for exploitation, I suppose. That's the way that there's an undercurrent of how kids can get into contact with people you don't necessarily want to get into contact with.
Yeah.
That's a tool for how they're accessing it. But what else has failed to reach this sort of situation though, where they are not engaging with school, for example, or it looks like this kind of this cool man, this kind of cool character, this might is right kind of thing.
You know, when we were tackling this issue, we found out racism, isolation, you know, bullying, economic crisis, all related, and politics. I think it really play that game, because role modeling it starts from the people who are in the top to show these young children a good example. And for people like, for example, Donald Trump, I don't think he is a good example for the children. So he's gang somehow. Yeah, so those people who are reaching to the power and they are acting in a ganging way, they are really giving bad examples. My daughter had this conversation with me once, and she said, "Mom, how you wanna really fight knife crimes if violence is excused in different way? How are you gonna convince these young people that violence is not accepted while you are just justifying it in different way?" So, and I see where she's coming from, because she thinks that as a young female, she thinks that she is exposed to all type of violence, and that knife crime is not very different from the other type of violence. You see, so I think what we really need to do is to really open an honest conversation about education, about politics, about economy, because knife crimes is not just a child holding a knife and killing another child. You see the end result.
Okay.
By that.
The symptoms.
But there are lots of hidden, rooted, issue and symptoms and factors.
So,
And it's very easy for the child, to really, nowadays you find it very easy for the child to hold a knife.
so the knife crime,
Yeah.
the act is the end result,
So
but
it's
it's a long
knife crime,
path.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
knife crime is the end result.
Yeah.
It's a symptom. What it takes to get there, it will be
It's a mountain.
and it's a number of steps that take place. And what we're saying is that yes, austerity hasn't helped. Youth services have been cut. There's a lack of police officers out on the streets now. So the UK is struggling. But what we have to look at is that how do we now? We've had 9-10 years of this. So how do we resolve these issues? How do we put preventative measures in place? We look at adverse childhood experiences. The impact that has on a young person's well-being, where they are facing issues at home, and they impact on themselves, and they then go out and find that sense of belonging, home. That
So we are
nurturing in
taking
other
knife
places.
crimes, all the issue, we are taking it on the victim and on the child who did the crime, or the person who did the crime. But actually, the whole society is behind us. And another issue, I think, what we should really, debate is to what extent those people who are claiming they are fighting knife crimes are serious about it. You know what I mean? We are, for example, I am personally, and I think Sahira, and that's Moms United, we don't really agree with excluding children from school, because once you exclude the child from the school, you are throwing them to the streets, and then you make them very easy victim.
Is there though a course for I guess rehabilitation, reintegration, the kind of way to get young people back interested with? I've spoken to there's boxing clubs that operate in the city that try and bring kids back to the line, get them back and reintegrated with school. What's the kind of hope for what kind of work is being done in the community? What kind of social work is there to get people back on track? I suppose there's got to be no hope.
Yeah, I mean, in the clubs we do use sport as a tool to get the young people engaged, and boxing is a great way of building resilience and confidence and channeling the negative energies that they might have, in a boxing thing.
Certainly, yeah.
The boxing bag. So
So
it's
you
a way
take your anger on
so
it,
you
yeah.
take your anger and you channel that energy into a boxing bag, and football, all these different multi-sports are really, really good in ensuring that the young people have a way of channeling what they're thinking, and once you get that aggression and that negative feeling out, then it's time to sit and talk to them. And
We are
create
working
safe
on
place.
mental health as well. We are working in online gaming, like education gaming. So it's like a puzzle. There is no only one solution for it, because every child is different and every need is different. So through what we are doing, we created the charitable bank, as you see, and the charitable bank was just a way to bring our young people into the land of helping others. Some young people may be interested in helping, and we have a few people who are interested in feeding homeless, in sorting out donation, in giving food, in giving the clothes, and organizing. So that was really useful in the sense of making these young people feel they are active and productive.
To repeat what we were saying at the beginning, we were speaking from the Mums United Charitable Bank on the Wicker. This is kind of a multi-organisation, but also quite a lot of facets to the area. I've been to the back rooms. There's the food bank. There's the clothes bank. It's an activity centre. It's a hub for activity. There's a lot of work done down this way. I guess you could talk about some of the work that Mums United does. I suppose going to schools, you were saying earlier, but also what kind of levels do you take this attack at?
So we go to schools. We have been, and focus on preventative work, so we look at young children in the age of 10 to 14. That's the age group that we feel the young people are the most vulnerable to being exploited into gangs. You know, we've seen young people as young as 8, 9, you know, knowing about drug dealing, knowing about the different types of drugs. You know, we cannot be naive to the fact that these children don't know what's happening in the gangs. They are exposed to it in many communities every single day, and what we don't want to happen is it being normalised. You know, we always have to say that this is wrong. There's always another way. There's always another option. You know, this path is, and it's not rigid. You know, you could, if you go onto this path, there's always a way back. You know, and you know, this is the best way of, you know, being successful. And you know, being in gangs is just like a short roller coaster ride.
I think there are lots of
examples.
There are lots of examples where someone gets inside, and then with support and help, they were able to go outside.
Yeah, certainly.
I've seen many children who think, oh, I am trapped, I can't go out. Well, some cases are really complicated, especially when the child is involved in taking the drugs, when they become addicted. And in that sense, we need the help from the family. We need the help. We need them to come to us and tell, because you can't, you know, force yourself on people. People, you know, parents, and I would love to take this opportunity to talk to the parents and tell them, you need to take your responsibility about your children. You know, we see a lot of time parents, they just deny that their children are in trouble, and they fear, for example, people talking or shaming them. But there is no shame, because we all can be in that position. I have 3 children. I have a little boy who is 10 years old. Who knows what will happen with this boy? No one has, as we say, umbrella on the head. Yeah, so everyone can get the rain. This is Arabic proverb, yeah? We say no one has an umbrella on the head. Everyone can get wet, yeah? So, in that sense, there is no shame from coming to us and say, well, I need help. Because we are here to listen to the moms. We are here to listen to the dads. We are here to help each other, because the issue is big. If we can't eat the elephant by ourselves, can we? We need someone to help us to eat the elephant.
I don't want to eat the elephant.
Yeah, so we're gonna get it to the pieces, and those pieces should be taken by everybody, you know, not ourselves, because we can't eat the elephant.
I'll use that one. I think that's such a bright image as well. We were saying about, sadly, some of the end results of this. In most recent weeks, we've had a couple of quite high-profile cases. We've got the Boxing Day murder of Coley Byrne out by Gypsy Queen. We've got the death of Fat John Alucci on New Year's Day, who was stabbed in the early hours of New Year's Day on Doncaster Road in Rotherham. Most recently, we have unnamed yet, but there was a victim, a 26-year-old victim, who was stabbed in a barber shop on London Road Friday gone. Not to say any of these were connected to gang crime, but all of them are certainly a result of night crime as a situation. What do you think what's the prognosis? Is the situation getting worse or better in Sheffield in the past 4 years when you stepped in?
Can I just say that, you know, our condolences go out to the families first of all. You know, it's really, really sad, and it's devastating, and you know, lives have changed forever. So, you know, we just like to say that. I think from our part, I don't think it's changed much in the past 3 years. It's got worse.
Yeah.
You know, during the pandemic, you know, there's been gun crime, there's been intergenerational dealing, and the situation hasn't changed much. Now the statistics might tell a different story, but we live in the community and we see what's happening out on our front doorsteps. And what we're seeing is that there needs to be more collaborative work with groups that are tackling, you know, knife crime or youth violence, and talk more to the young people and having measures put in place to help the parents and the mothers.
To be honest, you know, it's very sad and it's traumatizing to the whole community. I think I don't want, as Sahira said, we don't want to reach to the stage where it is natural naturalizing it. Losing life is very tragic
Sure.
for the family, for the people who knew family. The family. My daughter, for example, she knew a boy. He was her classmate, and he was knifed, and he was killed. He died, and that really traumatized her for a while. And she knew him about 10 years ago. So you see, it's infected on her. It's infected on me, and so you can imagine how huge the impact of knife crimes. But I don't know. Do we have a memory of fish and we forget?
Sure.
I think we do. Goldfish. We forget that the knife crime in the corner. we just forget. We just pretend that life is normal, but it's not normal because his family lost their child's life, and that child who also used the knife. What is the history behind that?
And I think basically just to put it, that one life is too many.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether the numbers are going up or down, stagnant. It's the fact that it's taking place.
Yeah.
And young people this behaviour is becoming normalised. People are carrying knives for protection and various different reasons. But it's becoming the norm, and the minute it becomes a norm,
it's
that's
not easy
where
to change.
you can't change that behaviour.
Changing culture and values of culture is the most I do organization. I work with organization, and I know how changing a specific value or culture is hard and difficult. And you can't just see it happening in front of you and say, well, it happens. No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
Sure.
So we are not that thing as amongst United. We will never justify it. We will never accept it.
Yeah.
I will never stay silent on it because I don't want to see. If I saw anybody child in the street stabbed, it's like my child. Because if it happened to him, why it wouldn't happen to my child? You see where I'm coming from. So we have to really, all of us, say, well, enough is enough, as we did. We demonstrated in the street.
Yes, I was going to speak.
And we said enough is enough. We had received lots of silly comments saying, all Sheffield heard your voice. Yes, they need to hear our voices. That's why we are here, aren't we?
Yes.
We were speaking during this about how, if anyone was interested in this and heard how people come to you for help and such, we gave the address, of course. But if people listening wants to get involved and wants to see how they can benefit from Mums United or see what they can do to learn, what can people do to get involved and what can they get involved with? Engage with?
On Wednesdays we have online Powering Me, and that's specifically for mums. So it's an online platform where the mums come and talk about what's happening. On Fridays we're having the charitable bank open to volunteers
It's
and
in Wicker.
donations.
It's in Wicker, in 29A Wicker, and we are open from 9 to 5. We have different projects inside the bank. We are feeding the homeless on Mondays and Fridays. So those people who would like to help us get the food, we are cooperating with Co-op
And a charity called Penny Appeal.
Penny Appeal, they are helping us with the food parcels and getting food as well. Sometimes we're getting fresh food from Co-op, so I would like to thank them, really, because they are really helping us in that sense.
Yeah, and on Saturdays we're holding a session at the Old Junior School between 2 and 4, and it's educational classes for young children aged 10 and above. If you're struggling at school, if you've been excluded, we've got sessions where a qualified teacher will be engaging with the young people and offering 2 hours of free tuition, and that's at the Old Junior School. And then on Sundays we've got our Mums United Sheffield Youth Club, and that's at Mearsbrook Pavilion between 1 and 3. So we do an interactive workshop, and we also do multi-sports, so we'll do boxing, archery, things like that.
Archery?
In the hall.
Outdoors.
Alright. Not the same time as boxing. Okay.
It's been a little bit cold for archery.
Yes.
So we've been doing sessions indoors. So we've had Harlem Bells, Dave Hemborough's team come down. We've had Aspire Boxing come down and help with the boxing. We've got Shaz. He's a trained boxing mentor. He comes teaches the kids and the mums boxing, and it's a great way, self-defense as well. So we do workshops, so we do different things to cater for different needs.
And I think what is really interesting about these sessions is the atmosphere. 2 weeks ago we had a really nice party for our moms who were working with us, and we celebrate after we've been recognized by the Prime Minister office. So we wanted to recognize our own ladies as well, our volunteers, and just a great atmosphere. Like you feel like you are really enjoying, engaging, releasing that negative energy and communicating at the same time. So I don't think this is easy thing to achieve, especially with the community that have people from different backgrounds and trying to get together, moms and children and parents, and fathers, to get in that. So I think this is one of the achievements which we are really proud of.
Yeah. Terrific. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
I think we're going to close it off there in a sec. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to say to the people watching at home.
Should I give us another analogy? We've had fish, we've had elephant,
An umbrella.
We're going to carry on with eating the elephants.
I think
Between the elephants together, I think. Yeah, it's fitting.
I think we
fitting.
are one chain. As
One
a community, one chain. Because, sticking to each other is what's going to make us stronger.
Yeah.
And to pretend that you are different to me is not going to work. Yeah, what we have to do, it's not about tolerating the problem, it's about dealing with the problem.
And accepting.
Yeah, and accepting the fact that there is a problem and we have to deal with it. Those people who think they came from the, they have this ganging mind, we tell them they are not welcomed because we want safe Sheffield.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are looking for safe Sheffield, and this is our right, isn't it?
Yeah,
As
and
in, just human rights.
just one last thing I want to say is to all the mums out there who are suffering and who are struggling, with their children, or suffering from domestic violence, or facing issues at home that they feel they're just about tolerating or just keeping their heads just above the water, that you're not alone. There's mums out here that are ready to talk to you. Our doors are always open, and if you're struggling with your child or you just want to feel you need some space, time out, we're here for you, and we'll do whatever we can to help.
And every voice is respected. They need to know that. And their privacy is really our concern. We never share any, or even we know lots of stories, and a lot of people come to our offices and talk to us. We never exposed anybody, we never caused anybody problem, because we believe that their privacy is our priority. So they need to know that we are safe, as we want Sheffield to be.
Terrific. All right. We'll pinch off there.
Well,
thank you very much.
having
Thank you
us.
very much.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Dr.
And thank you
Sala.
for the audience as well. We
Yes,
hope that they
thank you very much
enjoyed
for
our
tuning in.
company
Please do well.
today.
We enjoy the interview quite a lot. Thank you, everybody. So this is